Blessed children, I, Omega, have come to initiate you in the greater awareness that is present within the allness of God. That allness spans eternity. There is no beginning and no ending. And you are the offspring of that eternal one. When your presence determined to incarnate, it was a glorious event in the awareness of the Manu of the root race that sponsored your incarnation. All rejoiced to know that there was a son and daughter of God that had elected to fashion and form, create and multiply more of the heavens of God, establishing a greater presence of the one God. For in reality, if you have not already understood, you are in the process of mastering all that is possible to create worlds. Perhaps there are those among you that at some point you will stand as the hierarch of your own system of worlds. Far-reaching are the domain of the many presence of God that since the beginning have won their victory. And they too moved through the great elemental forces of nature just as you are at present, to learn, to master, to become all that is possible in the presence of God. Perhaps that seems far-reaching for where you are at present in your consciousness. But the purpose of our coming throughout this fortnight is to impart to your consciousness all that is possible so that you can begin to stretch your mind, expand your emotions, and touch the very body consciousness, first and foremost of your own God presence. And then allow yourself to touch the one God, to have the transfer of that consciousness in the allness of God displace any vestiges of unreality that may still be lingering in your life. All the while, Your own mighty I Am presence is holding you in the firm embrace of love, so that when you are called upon to reach beyond levels of previous attainment and allow your consciousness to soar, you will not fear going with the ascended and cosmic beings to pierce the veil of what has been before your highest experience in God. Knowing that you are safe within the arms of your own God presence. You are fearless, courageous. You know no limitations. You are fit for the journey. For these many days you have fasted, prayed, decreed, purified your vehicles, so that in this pure consciousness you are not weighted down by the fetters of unreality that may still be swirling about in your life. All the while, you are prepared to allow your gaze to be firmly fixed upon the white light of the mother flame, allowing that presence of the mother light to make itself known to you, so that each of your spiritual centers will be knitted together in that pillar of the white light. And as the Christ consciousness elevates you, lifting you out of the precept of these outer vehicles, you know weightlessness and freedom beyond what you have experienced before. You understand what it means to move delicately, carefully, hardly breathing beyond what is necessary, but allowing for that filigree thread of consciousness to have its day in the great central sun, to move within the consciousness of the Most High and discover why it is that you came into incarnation to begin with, what it is that you are longing to return to. How do you apply your day-to-day life, even here and now, while you prepare for that grand journey returning home? These are the things that we will discuss. We will impart to you the charge of our own momentum of light, the body consciousness of wisdom, and the understanding of the power of love. You will have bestowed upon you your own mantle of the will of God. Your own God presence will determine the weight of that mantle and how much will be placed in your care. For as with all things, you must use wisely what is given, and your presence most assuredly would not have you misuse one erg of energy, nor would we, the ascended masters, expect that in one blink of an eye you will have grasped the whole of cosmic law. And yet, you cannot limit the possibility that it could occur. The difference would be whether or not these outer vehicles that you wear have been prepared sufficiently to hold the magnitude of what you had received. Are you able to grasp it within your mind? Or is it too high in vibration to even take within the cells of your brain? Is there enough discipline within your emotional body to hold the magnitude of the power of God, should you receive it? Can you be trusted to not lose your harmony? Can you hold immense amounts of power, not knowing what it is for, but understanding that you are a vehicle for the Most High, and thus you are holding it until the presence desires you to put it into action in the world of form? How many are confounded by decisions that need to be made, constantly churning whether or not to do this or that, to come, to go, to be or not? You will know, and you will have clarity of vision imparted to you in the perfect time and space, according to your own God presence, unfolding the details of your life for you. There are many who cannot even begin to understand these teachings, cannot make sense of any portion of what is taught. And as the mother, I can say, perhaps it is not your time, but in patience all things will come. First, you must be willing to know, to expand your conscious awareness, to have the transfer of the truth of cosmic law, and then to let it become a part of the fabric of your identity. For when you allow it, wonder of wonders you discover. It was already there all along. You merely had to acknowledge it. Oh, how easy it is to resist the truth, the reality of God, the presence and the light that is there for you. How easy indeed it is. But oh, how difficult to throw away all of the unreality and determine to purify one's consciousness so that you are prepared to receive all that your presence desires. We are most aware that when we come, there are many different degrees of attainment amongst the sons and daughters of God in attendance to our flame. You needn't be concerned that it will be too much for you, for all is mitigated according to your own God presence and what the presence knows you need, you require, and you can handle. I have addressed you on these matters so that you would be prepared to take flight, for this is not the customary conclave of light. We have come to initiate new momentums, new levels of awareness of God, and thus it requires a momentum of great light to accomplish these releases. For as you can be sure, there are those energies upon the earth that would decry and oppose with every erg of energy the coming forth of even one more address from the ascended and cosmic beings. This is why you were asked to purify your vehicles so that you could hold more light, more of the consciousness, and soar with each mounting release of light as it would build to a culmination at the close of this cycle, setting the earth spinning a little faster, clearing away a lot of the dogma and doctrine of old religions, and allowing it to be consumed by the light, so that just as you ofttimes feel a thought fleeting before you are able to ground it into the practical application into your life. Those old doctrines and dogmas will merely be washed away out of the consciousness of many. This is necessary if there is to be the marking of a new dispensation and opportunity for the earth. I, Omega, trust that each one in attendance to this conclave will be most diligent, most conscientious to make themselves present into the prayers, decrees, and affirmations, will continue to purify their vehicles of consciousness, abstaining from worldly affairs as much as possible, and holding fast to the momentum that you have received in the previous addresses leading up to this conclave, so that the power of love can continue to be anchored in the earth by your own God presence, so that the purity of the light of the mother flame will take dominion not only in your life, but in the earth, so that the resurrection light, the fires of resurrection, can continue to work through your own vehicles as they do in the earth. All the while, each of these addresses will galvanize you into the higher consciousness that is required for you to once and for all turn over a new leaf in life, grasp a new awareness of God, and participate in the great family of God, in all of the moments of eternity that have been and always will be. Your victories, your celebrations, your holy days, and as you embrace new momentums, first in your own life, and then in the greater ecclesia worldwide, you will begin to see take hold, springing up, as it were, patterns of like nature, even where they have never heard an address from this altar. Some perhaps confused, confounded, thinking that all of the charlatans of the world are speaking in my name and my flame, or any of the other ascended and cosmic beings. But nonetheless, it is a beginning. You are establishing a momentum here and now that allows for the greater purposes of the kingdom of God to take its rightful place upon the earth. This is why, at present, you may see many areas of consciousness diametrically opposed to one another, each sure that they are right, fueled by something, but you know not what. It is time for you to know. It is time for you to have the Christ discrimination. For you have been given much. It is time to put it into the Christ light, in the wise use that is required of your life stream. In the cosmic councils, there was deliberation on who would address you this night. Some were sure that it should be one that was perhaps closer to having taken ascension from the earth. Some had thought a Chauhan, perhaps Archangel Michael, even the great divine director. But I spoke, and when I speak, they know the flame of the mother. And it was understood on the instant that I should be the one to come to you, to preface this great work that you would be about. For who but the mother, who loves her children so, would ask more of them than they were capable of fulfilling? When the white light of the mother flame comes to you and asks of you to give birth to a greater momentum of God consciousness than you have heretofore exhibited. It was determined you would listen, you would take to heart, and you would galvanize every erg of energy within your capacity to draw forth, to make it so. I, the mother, have faith in you. I know what you are made of. The strength, the courage, the fearlessness, even though there have been times when you have feigned their lack. I know what you are made of. And thus, I commend you to exhibiting the light that you are. No longer waiting until some day when perhaps you may feel a little moved or a little strengthened or a little empowered. Now is the time. By the close of this conclave, I will visit you, each one individually, to take stock of your accomplishments. Some I already know what to expect, for they are tried and true throughout the ages, while there are yet others that have not always upheld with constancy and the steadfastness of their momentum and acceleration. Oh, how I hold the vision of the perfection of your momentum in the light, of your accomplishment, to be able to grasp the presence of God in eternity, and entering into that flame, that momentum, and that body consciousness. Together, we will move mountains of adversity for the sons and daughters of God, till they are capable of moving them for themselves. I commend you to the moments in eternity that you will experience and realize as your own. Be sealed in the mother light that will buoy you up with the strength and the foundation upon which you may elevate your consciousness higher and higher in the knowing of the eternal being of God. Hold fast, lest you lose one moment that otherwise you might have experienced.